and bonjour. Hi, my name is McKinley. Come on aboard Dream Chaser.
Hey everybody, Gil here with the sailing vessel Dream Chaser. And this episode is going to be a little bit different. As you know, most of the videos are DIY type videos, how we're doing repairs on the boat. In this episode, we're actually going to cook something, and I thought I'd bring you along because I think it's going to be valuable for a lot of people that are either traveling, doing work, or frankly on any kind of passage. These things are really helpful. So as I was starting to lose weight, I was looking for meal substitutes. I started doing with smoothies and protein shakes, and I travel a lot for work. So what I started doing is picking up these Clif Bars. They were good tasting, they were filling, they were high in protein, fairly low in fat, and they really, really were helpful for me. I think each one cost like $1.25 or something like that at the local grocery store. But again, I was buying them on days I was traveling. So in an airport, they're almost $3 a bar. But I thought this would be a place where I could make them and make them a little bit with maybe some better ingredients for myself. And they're wonderful if you're doing any kind of a large project, a job, a hike, or if you are getting ready to do some passage. Having some of these prepared ahead of time so that if you have bad weather or something like that, you need a little sustenance, you need to be able to eat something. It's quick, it's easy, and these are no bake, so they're really easy to make. I found a bunch of recipes on the internet. And man, they vary. Everything from cooking them to not cooking them. The ingredients vary on a lot of them. There's a couple of them that seem consistent on all of them. Almost all of them use a puffed rice, like a Rice Krispie kind of cereal, but puffed rice. And I wanted to use all natural stuff. Almost all of them have oats in them. And then from there, they start to go in a bunch of different directions. So I looked at all of them. I kind of grouped together what I thought we would want to do based on the things and flavors we like. And we're going to try a couple of different ones today. So I've got my helper today, McKinley. She's going to help me, and we are going to put these together. The ones I picked up was this peanut toffee buzz, and we'll open one up and just kind of show you the consistency, what they look like, and then in a few minutes after we make these, we will do a taste comparison, and you get to see McKinley and I decide which is better, ours or Clif's. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm going to run through the ingredients we're going to use in a minute. I'll go into more detail about it. But like I said, I found a bunch of recipes and they all varied. We're going to do ones that we wanted. I actually went and bought most of these supplies at Whole Foods. It cost me about $16. I think it's going to make about 18 bars. So frankly, that's not a great money savings. It does give me a more natural product. I know what's in them. I know there's not preservatives in them like there are in the store-bought type. But more importantly, if this all works exactly as I think it will, I can start buying these a little bit more in bulk, and we can make them ahead of time, and it'll be a lot cheaper than that. So the first ingredient we're going to be using is puffed rice, Rice Krispies for most people. But I wanted to get ones that didn't contain sugar, and most of the cereal that you find on the cereal shelf that's puffed rice does contain it. The reason I got this one is it is 100% brown rice puff. That's all it is. So that was one of the ingredients. The other one is oats. So you need rolled oats, but it's important that you don't get the regular simmering kind. You get the quick oats, and that's because we're not going to cook these, so we need to make sure that they're pre-cooked like those are. We want something to add some flavor at some point into it as well. So I actually got two different things. I bought some dried cherries and some dried cranberries, or craisins as they refer to them. And then I also wanted some kind of nut in them. I like the flavor of nuts. I have a bag of walnuts, so we're going to be using walnuts for this. Now those are all the dry ingredients, and the binding ingredients are a couple of different things here. So most recipes I found called for peanut butter. We're actually going to be using almond butter. We have one of those Ninja blenders, and we can make this kind of stuff on board, which is really handy. It's what we end up using for smoothies, but I just bought this just because it was easy and quick, and I knew I wasn't making much of it. Frankly, when you're making this stuff with the Ninja, you have to make a larger quantity, right? So I just bought it. The other wet ingredient is actually dates. So I bought pitted dates, and they're in this bowl because I basically just ran them through a food processor. You can chop them by hand, however it works, but I use the food processor for it. And then the last thing is a binding liquid. I'm going to use honey. I have this 100% pure raw and unprocessed honey, so I'm going to be using that. I have seen recipes that call for anything from maple syrup to honey to agave and even brown rice syrup, so a sweetener, and that's going to be a bit of a binding agent. So hope you find this helpful. We're going to jump in and actually do the ingredients, measure them up, and I'll show you how we do it. So the first ingredient we're going to use is the puffed rice, and I'm going to use about 1.25 cups for this. What I'm doing is a recipe that makes about 9 or 10 bars. Oop. So there's a cup and a little bit, as you saw, so I'll just go a little shy on the 1/4 cup. There we go. That gives it a little bit of a crunch. We also need about 1 cup of our oats. Our next ingredient is going to be 1 cup of oats. You want to dump that in there? Go ahead. Good job. All right, now don't mix it up yet, okay?
All right.
I mentioned before we wanted to have some nuts in ours, and I had the walnuts. So we just chopped up walnuts. I'm going to use about a 1/4 cup of these. You want to dump that in there, baby? All right. And again, what we're doing is we're putting all of our dry ingredients together.
Let's put cinnamon in it.
All right, and the other dry ingredient we want to do is a little bit of cinnamon. I'm just using a teaspoon of cinnamon for this size, and it's probably to taste, but I'm a cinnamon fan, so. All right.
Can I do it now?
Yep, here's what it looks like, and we're just gonna mix it up. Here.
But I want to do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Silly me. I'll help you. Ready? Good job. So here's kind of what it looks like, and you'll notice it's just a dry set of ingredients here. So we're going to set this aside, and we're going to work on our wet ingredients for binding agent. Yeah?
Yeah.
A binding agent?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know what a binding agent is?
Nope.
It's kind of like glue, like food glue.
Yeah.
So what I have here is just a small saucepan, and as we mix up the binding ingredients, the wet ingredients, we want to warm them up and completely mix them together so that we can get a good binding agent going together.
And this too.
We're going to be using that measuring cup too.
Yeah. Everything is good, right?
Everything is good. So we want to use a 1/2 cup of nut butter, and
Yeah.
we're using almond butter. You like almond butter, don't you?
Yeah.
Take that off your nose, silly. All right, can you hold it over the pot?
Yeah.
All right, so what we want to do is we want to just get that much of it. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Let's actually, you know what? Move it out of the way. I don't think we need that. We can just put it right in here. As I see, that was almost a little bit more than half of it full, so we're not. Oh,
Put it in here.
nope, we don't need it in there. We just need to put it in the pot. Move that out of the way. All right. So we've got our nut butter. So ready? I'm going to help hold it a little bit, and we're going to go to a 1/3 cup of honey here. Honey's delicious, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Now, can you just turn that right over, right inside there? Don't let it touch the peanut butter. Oh, I missed the pot. You gotta make sure you get it in the pot. There we go. Look at that, turkey bird. You stuck it right down in the peanut butter, didn't you? All right.
Oh, man.
All right, so we've got a 1/2 cup of nut butter, a 1/3 of a cup of a sweetener. Again, we're using honey, agave, brown rice syrup. Heck, you might even be able to use maple syrup, but that would defeat the purpose of the less sugar, even though it's a natural sugar. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to put in vanilla extract, just about a teaspoon. Here, smell that. What's that smell like?
It smells like vanilla.
Vanilla. It smells good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You have a good nose. Remember when you were smelling all the soap in the store and you knew the strawberry smell soap and you called it gum when it was peppermint? You got a good smell.
Yeah.
So the other binding agent we want and the fruit flavor is going to be
Taste it.
pitted dates. Not yet. We're going to use a cup of these dates, and I don't even think I'm going to measure this. This looks like it's probably about this looks like about a cup and a half. So I'm just going to eyeball approximately a cup of these little guys. That looks like about it. And I'll say you can buy pitted dates in bulk in a lot of the organic kind of grocery stores. Whole Foods had it, Fresh Market has it. Even some of the grocery stores, if you look in the produce section, oftentimes they will have non-pitted ones, and you can pit them yourselves, but it's a bit of a pain. If you can find the pitted ones, it was really easy. I just ran them. I put it on pulse in the food processor for probably, I don't know, maybe 3 pulses of a second a piece, and they were done. Easily just use a hand chopper or a knife.
You got it on there.
Oh no, did I make a mess?
Yes.
All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this on the stove and we're just gonna let this heat up a little bit. So let's get the stove lit, and again, on a boat, propane switch over there. We then come over here and get the stove lit. Step back from that, you know how we treat a stove, right?
Yeah.
And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put our pot on here, and we want a very low heat. So I'm gonna turn this down about as low as it'll go on this boat. And we're just going to, mix this a little bit here. And there's not much to it here. Again, we're just trying to get this a little bit heated up. So I've got this on a low heat, and we're just cooking it for about 3 to 4 minutes at a low heat, just to get this to soften up. And you can kind of see what we've got here. It's a consistency that's, you know, a little bit more liquefied. The peanut butter thinned down, the honey mixed in with it, and even the dates are fairly liquidy. So this will be perfect for dumping over a dry mixture as we begin to mix it. You about ready to mix it, McKinley?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to put the cranberries in here? You take that and just dump them right in there. Oh wait, not all of them though. I think we probably only want maybe half of them. Let's see, about that many. I think that's probably about 1/4 of a cup or so, and we'll play that by ear if we need more in a minute. I'm gonna do it with my hand for a minute. Now we got the tough part. Ready? This is the hard part. Watch out, this is hot. Now we're gonna take our mixture that we heated up, and we want to put it in fairly quick while it's still warm. It's just going to be a matter of getting this mixed in, which may or may not be easy. So let's see what we get here. Oh, look at that. A piece just slung right over onto the faucet. You want to taste it?
I do.
Dip your finger right in the edge of that. How's that? Is that good? That's dates and honey and nut butter, almond butter. What I'm going to do is I'm kind of bouncing the dry ingredients on top of that, because for some reason I think it's going to be less messy if I do. After we do, let me just get this started, McKinley, and then you can help me mix it. You want to help mix now?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Mix away. Here, I'll hold the spoon too. We want to push down and then crunch it in. See, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it all wet as we go. Okay?
I can do it.
You can do it?
Mm-hmm. All by myself.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to help you too, because if we get any off of there, it'll make a mess.
Can I eat it?
Not yet.
No.
First, we have to form it into bars. I'm developing my technique as we go here, but what I'm noticing is some of the oats, where they were pretty ground up, were kind of sticking in the bottom and they weren't stuck to it. So just turning it over and then smooshing it down in, almost like a potato masher you might do. It seems to be working pretty well. I'm now going to use my other spatula, because I'm sure I got a bunch of dry ingredients on this wooden spoon. If you do this, I would suggest you use a wooden spoon and not a little plastic spatula. If I were to use this, it's not strong enough to really do this. You gotta have a little oomph. Honestly, the best solution would probably be just using my hands, but I'm trying to avoid that because I just know that honey is going to be sticky as all get out. So what we want to do is, most of these recipes call for about an 8x8 pan, and spraying it with Pam or something like that. I have this Pyrex dish. This is what we use on the boat. They fit well in the ovens and stuff. So I'm going to do it in this. It means the bars may be a little bit thicker, and if I need to, I'll only put some of that mixture in, and then I'll grab a second one of these if I need to. With only Pam, I just actually use a drop of olive oil. Sounds a little odd, but at least it should pop out of there. Now all we're going to do is scoop this stuff in here. Hey, can you move that bar for a minute? Put it over there. Is that the bar you got? We're going to do a taste test later, aren't we? We're going to try, look, here, put that right here. We're going to try our peanut toffee buzz and our berry pomegranate chia seed, and we're going to test it against ours and see which is better, okay? Just press this down into the pan, and I'm going to use my weak spatula here, but at least it should kind of get this stuff pushed in here.
You have some left.
Yep, we're going to put that in a different pan. Now what you want to do is you want to press this down here. These bars, when you've had them, they're really dense, and when we go do our taste test, you'll see the texture of those. So it's important that we want to kind of pack this tightly down in there so these things form a nice, dense, thick, and solid bar.
Yeah, we do want that.
We do want that, don't we?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use my fingers here. By the way, putting wax paper in here probably would be good too. I just didn't happen to have any on the boat, so I may fight a little bit with how to get this out of here. But again, I'm pretty comfortable being able to just tap this down onto this board and be good. Now the next step of this is surprisingly easy. Let me have this.
Everything.
The next step of this is really surprisingly easy. All you want to do is cool these down so that we can take them apart and pop them out of these and cut them. At that point, we wrap them in wax paper or Ziploc bags and store them. And I'm sure they will store well for probably a month in the refrigerator at least, given the ingredients that are in here. Everybody who lives on a boat knows you try not to put warm items directly in the fridge because it reduces the temperature, increases your energy consumption. So what I'm going to do with these actually is I'm going to pop these in the freezer side of our icebox to get the temperature down, and that'll be just fine. It's not like you need to store them for a long time in refrigerator temperatures just to get these to firm up. So I'm just going to put these two right in our drop-in freezer. So I went ahead and took these both out of the freezer. It's about 15 minutes later. I probably could have got away with 5 minutes. Most of the comments I've seen other people do these, they leave them in the fridge for 15 minutes or so. I'm going to take them out and I'm going to see how well a little bit of olive oil on a napkin worked to get these things to extract. So I'm going to turn this over and bang it down on a wooden cutting board, and we'll see if it comes out. Different things in my arsenal here. A little butter knife to go around the outside of it. A little silicone mixing pad. And ironically enough, I found this. I think this is actually McKinley's from our toy kitchen, but I thought it might push down and go around the corner pretty well, or loosen up the corner. So let me start by just going around the outside of this. Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad, just loosening it up here. It's coming off of there fairly easily. It's kind of like if you've ever been stuck in the mud though. Feels like it's building like a little bit of a suction in there. There we go. Look at that. McKinley's old toy kitchen utensil seems to be working pretty good for this, just because it's bending around the edge here. There we go. We've got that ready to cut in just a second. If you've never seen one of these Clif Bars, that's kind of what they look like. So you can see it's fairly similar. Mine are a little lighter than this one. Maybe that's brown rice syrup versus something else, or maybe they toasted the oatmeal a little bit, or it could be some of the preservatives they have in there. And if you wanted, you could, make them a little bit more Clif Bar shaped by rounding the edges a little bit, but frankly, I don't know that matters at all. I think the benefit of using some wax paper or parchment paper would be you could kind of stack that between each of these and probably keep them from sticking to one another a little bit better. As I suspect when I store this, they'll stick together a bit. So are you ready to do a taste test? You want some noodles like at the sushi restaurant first? Let me see your face. You got it all over your face, silly girl. Let's each pick up one of these. Nope, not that one. One of these. Yep. Let's try a bite of that one. What do you think? Is it good? What does it taste like to you?
It tastes like cranberry.
Like cranberry? I taste the nuts. I taste the almond butter. Can I taste the almond butter a lot in there? It's good. It's a little dryish. We might need to add some more liquid. Have another bite of that same one. Oh, by that one? All right, that one's pretty good. So did you like that one? Was that one good or bad? Oh, it was good. Double thumbs up. Okay, let's try the next one we made. Here, I'm going to eat this one. This is the fruit one. Do you want to have that piece with the fruit in it? You want the small piece? That one falls apart a little more. Okay. So those are the ones we made. I think they were pretty good. If you guys are going to make these yourself, it doesn't have exactly the same texture as the Clif Bar. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit drier.
This one too. This one.
We're going to eat that one in a minute. They're a little bit lighter and a little drier.
Yeah,
if you
a little bit.
If you look at the difference here, you can see just how much more dense theirs is. So I'm guessing that they either grind up the puffed rice,
they do,
or something like that. I might try that next time.
Like that.
Because these are definitely denser. As a matter of fact, this little piece is about the same size, and it's heavier than this one. It's a little bit closer on the second one, where I did crush some of those. So, do we want to try the berry one or the peanut toffee one?
That one and that one.
The first ingredient on both of these is brown rice syrup. So my guess is part of the reason they pack these so tight when they make them is they have a lot more of that sweetener. We're trying to do a little bit less of that. And we've got to work on the consistency to get these packed really good. Not that there's a problem with them. These things are delicious, and I'm glad I have 18 or so of them over there, 20 of them over there. It'll be great little snacks and meal substitutes. All right. Yeah, next batch I make, I think I'm going to take all those dry ingredients that I had in there, and I'm going to pulse them in a food processor to try and break them down a little bit. I'm sitting here and look at the sides of these two, and you can just clearly see you can clearly see the difference. That's dense, and here you can actually see the airy pockets of the puffed rice. The nuts are still pretty large in mine, so if I grind it down a little bit more, I think we'll end up with a fairly similar consistency and the ability to pack a denser bar. The flavor's good, but that's probably the next thing. You want to say? From Gil and
McKinley.
we wish you safe sailing, and we'll see you next week on the Sailing Vessel Dream Chaser YouTube channel.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Adios, amigo.
Adios, amigo.
And how do we do it in French? How do we say goodbye in French?
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bye, everybody.
Au revoir. Get off from boat now.
Walk through the ones we decided to use. Oh, I feel a sneeze coming on.
Thank you, people. That's cute.
So you're not my daughter. What are you? You always say you're a grand what?
Grand squid.
Grand squid. That's right.
Grand squid.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching, and please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or even Tumblr. Please take a moment and go over to our website at svdreamchaser.com to download free resources for cruising and how-to projects. Get your thumbs and mouses ready. We also have a couple of links right on the screen for some other playlists and videos that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching, fellow dreamers.